This video shows how to create an escalation trigger rule in the on-call scheduling application. A trigger rule specifies when the app should trigger an escalation process and defines the actions to take when the trigger fires. Let's see how to create a trigger rule for the database on-call schedule. We can do that on the trigger rule page. We'll provide a name, choose the table that the trigger rule will use, and enter the execution order. We'll specify the trigger conditions when the priority is critical, and the actions to take for the escalation when the trigger fires. For this, we'll choose the incident assignment group, a trigger action, and a trigger workflow, which can be assign, assign and notify, or assign by acknowledgement. Let's look at the differences between these workflows. The on-call assign workflow assigns the incident to the current primary roster member without notifying them. The on-call assign and notify workflow assigns the incident to the current primary roster member and sends an assignment notification. And the on-call assign by acknowledgement workflow sends an actionable notification to a roster member, with an option to accept or reject the assignment. The notification is sent to the member's default contact preference or the preference set by the group manager, like text or email. If that member rejects the assignment, the app forwards the notification to the next member in the escalation path. We'll choose on-call assign by acknowledgement. That's it. We've created a trigger rule that will trigger the escalation path of the database group during a Priority 1 incident, or when an existing incident is updated to Priority 1. Note that if there are multiple trigger rules for the same table of matching conditions, the rule with the lowest execution order will fire first. Now, let's look at an uncommon trigger rule scenario. Suppose a company assigns all incidents to its service desk group, which then routes the incidents to other groups. In this case, a standard trigger rule won't work because the incident will always be assigned to the service desk group rather than to a group defined in a trigger rule. Let's see how we can modify our database trigger rule to handle that scenario. We'll go to our trigger rule and select trigger when group assign changes. That's it. Now our trigger rule will only fire when the service desk group routes the incident to another group.